and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Senior Editor for Travel Weekly, Nicole Edenedo.
Hello. Hi, everybody. So great to be back here at the third ASTA River Cruise Conference, Expo. I am very excited to bring up our panelists today. We're going to be talking about mastering the art in transforming skeptics into devoted river cruise enthusiasts. So I'd like to bring my panel members up. Come on down. Let's give a big round of applause. Woo! Hello, great. Okay. No, it doesn't matter. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So first, let's just let's introduce ourselves. Again, we're going to be talking about turning skeptics into sailors. So let's just go around really quick and just talk a little bit about your background in the business, how long you've been selling river cruises, and just very briefly.
My name is Maria Evangelista from New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been in the travel business for 15 years. Been selling river cruises for about 8 now.
And I'm Melinda Fortunato, president of Best Travel in the Washington, D.C. area. And thank you. And I have had Best Travel since 2014, and I've been selling river cruises pretty much since then.
Donna Manz, and for those of you who wonder who Nona Donna is, for good or bad, I'm Nona Donna. About 95% of my revenue comes from river cruises, and about half of that actually is solo travel, bookings, not revenue. But love river cruising, and I hope you all love it as much as I do.
I'm Christen Perry, and I'm with Classic Travel Connection, and I have been in business for since 2008, so I can't count tonight. And I have been selling river cruises pretty much along the way the whole time. However, I really started selling river cruises after I experienced a river cruise in 2018.
Yeah, exactly. And once you get on them, I mean, they're amazing. I love river cruising. I've been doing this now for going on 3 years as the river cruise editor for Travel Weekly, and it's been a fantastic experience. And that's what we want to talk about today. You know, the joys and the benefits of river cruising. But when you have people who are a little skeptical, maybe about cruising overall, or they've had great experiences on ocean cruises or anything like that, but how do you get them to come over to river cruising? So my first question is talking about qualifying. How do you guys qualify your river cruise or your potential river cruise clients? What kind of questions do you ask them, and what are you trying to find out about them specifically? So Christen, I'm going to start with you. Let's go with you first.
Perfect. So I actually just heard Steve talking from backstage, and he said something that's so important. I believe that one of our primary roles as travel advisors is to be a master matchmaker. We have to be able to match our client with the perfect vacation for them. Imagine like if you are trying to matchmake 2 people and you mismatch them, it can be, just in general, like a couple, it can be disastrous, right, for the rest of their life. And it's the same concept in business. We have to know the product so well and know the cruise line so well, and then we have to know our clients so well that we're able to put them together and put them on the right cruise line and on the right ship even. And not even that, but even more so the river. Every river is different. And so there are just so many things to think about when you're qualifying your clients for river cruises.
And I agree with that. I think qualifying our clients is really the best sales tactic that we have, because we specialize in them. And so it's one of my favorite things to do, which I think a lot of people think that's crazy. But when I'm qualifying someone, I have that phone call, I'm listening a lot. I ask tons of questions, but I listen very, very carefully to the kind of experience that they want when they travel. And so, but when you're trying to convert someone to river cruising or some other travel that you think would be a good fit that they haven't done before, you really have to paint the picture of what that's going to look like. You need to let them imagine themselves there and let them think about the emotions and the feelings and the memories that they're going to take away from that experience. And so for me, we all know that the best way to sell something is to experience it. And so I bring my own stories from river cruising and describe that to them. And one of my favorites is I was on a Uniworld cruise a few years ago, and we met a couple at the beginning of the cruise and ate dinner with them every single night. And this guy was a foodie. The chef was at our table every single night. There was no complaining. It was just talking about the food. I mean, the food was wonderful. There was nothing to complain about. Well, towards the end of the week, this guy, Matt, was talking about, we're going into Germany tomorrow. I have to get brats. I need bratwurst. I need the best bratwurst I can find. You know, that's what Germany is all about. So the next day, we're strolling through Passau, and we see the chef, and he's walking back towards the ship with a bag in his hand. And that night, Matt, and only Matt, had a plate full of bratwurst. You know, and so ultimately it was, I mean, that's the kind of the special things about river cruising. They make you feel special. And those are the kinds of stories that you need to give when you're qualifying also.
And that's what brings our clients back to us over and over again,
Yeah.
is matching them to the right place.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and speaking of stories, you know, when you have, you know, potential, or even your regular clients or first-time clients or potential clients coming over to you, and, you know, they've never done river cruising. They've had maybe a great experience on an ocean cruise or some other type of cruise experience, or maybe they had a really bad cruise experience. You know, how do you handle that? How do you handle when somebody has those kinds of experiences and they're not sure whether river cruising is going to be for them? So Maria, let's start off with you with that.
Well, I mean, first thing is, of course, is another part of qualifying, but after the fact. You know, what did you like? What were your dislikes? And you want to acknowledge the positive. And kind of put the negatives aside. But, you know, was it because, you know, this big crowded buffet and I didn't like that? But did you like the specialty dinings? So was it, you know, so specialty dining you can bring into river cruising, such as, you know, more intimate dining spaces and things like that. You don't have the crowded buffets. And also, it's just all about pulling the positives and connecting them to the river cruise.
Definitely. Great. Donna?
Well, I make it clear that I really don't care what their experience was on a deep water vessel because I don't sell it. My instinct is to talk about river cruising. And I tell people very explicitly that every river has its own personality. Every destination you visit has its own character. You know, Paris is not the same as Passau, for example. And every river cruise line, as we're seeing, has its own corporate profile. That is who they want to be to the travel advisor as well as its target market. Well, the only way that I can align a client is to know very intimately every detail of every river, most excursions, you know, the destinations and the river cruise lines. But it's equally as important for me to know every intimate detail of my client, because I'm not going to put somebody who wants to go to, let's say, vineyards and see chateau on the Seine. If somebody detests cold weather, I'm not going to put them on a Christmas market sailing, which is my favorite. If somebody wants great museums, I'm not putting them on the Rhone. So it is equally important for you to know the character of the destinations as well as the rivers and everything about your client. Does your client like to hike? Does your client like to bike? Does your client like to shop? And there's a lot of people there for whom that's a goal. Is your client a wino or a wine aficionado? You know, yes, I got a lot of people there. And it's funny, but one of the things, and we're talking about clients, and very few people actually do ask me, you know, why they should use a travel advisor, because they've already come to me, all right? So they understand my value I do not sell price, all right? It's all about value. Price is what you pay for, value is what you get. So I am selling value, and every price point has a value. I like to sell all inclusive, only because nobody ever has to worry. I spent $200 yesterday. Can I afford another 100 today? So you have to know your client. Some clients love a la carte pricing. Others want the all-inclusive. So once you know your client, and at its core, and if you take nothing else away, at its core, our industry is all about relationships. Our relationships with our tour operators. Use your BDMs. Believe me, they want to sell you their product. Take advantage of your BDMs. And you're building a relationship, so you have a go-to at every river cruise line. And then you build that relationship with your client. And remember that the experiences, Steve Spivak really took my thunder away, but what you need to do is you take training, but then you go on a sailing. Take more training, go on a sailing. Because your knowledge and experience will create passion. And passion generates enthusiasm. And your enthusiasm truly is contagious. So when you talk on a phone to someone, they don't have to see you. They know you're smiling. They know that you have been on the ship and you want them to experience all the joy of delights of river cruising. Right. That's basically all I have to say.
Yeah, look. And that was great, Donna. I mean, we're going to hear a lot of, certain things where we're overlapping. But again, I mean, I feel like that just adds to the importance, to the point of how important those points are. And for growing your business, for maintaining your sales and everything, and managing your success, which right now I want to talk about if we can share some success stories. I think it's important to hear those as well. Listening to success stories about how you were able to convert some of these skeptics into sailors. And so, Christen, let's start with you about how you were able to get those people, those skeptics, into your river cruise clients.
So I'm my person. I am a successful river cruiser now, and I have converted myself from ocean cruising to river cruising, and I'll tell you, I can speak to my clients when they have objections or when they have misconceptions about river cruising, because I had all the same ones. I was invited to attend a FAM on AMA Waterways in 2018, and I had never river cruised before, because I thought we'll do that when we retire. When we're a little older, and we will, they really don't look that pretty, if I'm being honest, when you're used to the glamour of a large ship. And we had never done anything but a larger ship. And I couldn't pronounce half the places that we were going. And so it's the unknown. You have no idea what you're getting into. And then once we went and once we experienced it, it was a totally different experience. And so being able to take that story and go back to our clients and talk about the differences between the two. And even I have another success story too that just happened a few weeks ago. And this group of clients comes from actually group land tours. And they love the group land tours, which are amazing also. But they weren't real sure about the river cruising. And I'm like, but you get to unpack once, pack it up at the end, and everything that you're doing on a land tour is very similar to what we're doing on a river cruise. And so I think who talked about this earlier on the panel. We had them over to dinner, a big group of my husband also is the chef in our house, and just absolutely loved it. And then by the end of the night, I had 3 or 4 cabins sold on a group that I have held next year. So, and pickleball also is like a huge, it's a draw. So anyway, I think just knowing your product again and being able to convert people who aren't really sure, that have all of the misconceptions that maybe we've all had before, and being able to communicate those and share them. I can't wait to take my kids. Like, my kids are all grown and are married, and I'm like, I cannot wait for them to experience it, because I know they're going to love it too, and they're all in their 20s. but now we have the grandkids, so we're gonna have to wait a minute. So.
Melinda, do you have any thoughts on that?
I do, actually. I had new to me clients come that were referred to me, and I was speaking with the wife first, and she really was fascinated about river cruising, but they were very independent travelers. They did not cruise. They like to do everything on their own. And so it was a double challenge, travel advisor that they've never used before, and then also, but she was coming to me asking me about river cruising. But she said, I don't know if I'm going to get my husband on board with this, what do I do? So we kind of talked through it, and I talked to her about some different ideas, and they had about 3 weeks that they wanted to travel. So I talked to her about it and explained the experience of river cruising and why, even as an independent traveler, it can still be a really good fit. And then I suggested, why don't we get your husband on the phone so I can talk to him too and feel both of you out, and we can figure this out. So, and of course, he's like, I don't want to be in one of those groups following a sign around everywhere. And I said, you don't have to do that. The ports are right there. You can just go in and you can still be independent, or we can do an exclusive experience. Well, I don't know if I want to eat dinner with a bunch of other people. You don't have to. You can go whatever time you want when the dining room's open. And if you want, you don't have to hang out in the living room with the other people. We could upgrade you to a nicer room that has a seating area so you can have your own space and read. So we really kind of figured it out. And they were thinking about doing a back-to-back. And I actually pulled them back from that and said, let's do a 7-night cruise, because you're already not really sure about this. So we took the 3 weeks, we did a 7-night, we added pre and post, some exclusive experiences, and they were able to get the best of both worlds. She was able to, experience a river cruise like she wanted, and they still felt that sense of independence that they wanted. So
yeah, great. One of the things I also we want everybody to walk away with, really great tips, things to take home with them to grow their business and keep at it, and especially if you're new, or just great helpful tips to give people. So what do you guys want advisors here to walk away with today? And Maria, I'm going to start with you. If there's one thing that you want advisors to walk away from the expo this year, what would that be?
Oh, wow.
Or a few.
Well, yeah.
We have 8 minutes. We have 8 minutes.
To know that maybe not every person that you talk to will be converted to a river cruise, but always ask the questions, broaden your horizons, open yourself up and others to this great industry, and you'll be surprised. I'm sure you'll be surprised on what will come to you. That's what happened with me. I just started talking to people and asking questions, and before you know it, I feel that I'm doing very well in the business. So
yeah, definitely. Donna, you want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I'll chime in on anything. Okay, that's the Italian in me coming out. Which is why I've got to be careful I don't hit anybody when I speak. There's no such thing as a one-time river cruiser. People say, don't you run out of rivers? I've done the Danube 5 or 6 times. I've done the Rhine 5 or 6 times. I've done the Seine 4 or 5 times. You know what? It's never the same sailing twice. And I've got clients who have done, most of my clients will do 3, 4, 5, and they just keep doing it every year. And I tell them, no matter what river you are on, the next time you are on that river, you take different excursions. Maybe the line has tweaked it, or maybe you try a different line. So you will never, even though there's basically 5 dominant rivers in Europe, you're not going to run out of them. And let people understand that just because they did the Rhine, and they did the Rhine from Basel to Amsterdam, well, they could do the Rhine and also do the Moselle, or they could go to just start in Cologne or whatever. So there are options. You can't run out of rivers. And I used to do a lot of presentations. And when I did presentations, I used to come in with a stethoscope around my neck. I never told anybody why I had this stethoscope, but I waited for somebody in the audience to say, why are you wearing a stethoscope at a river cruise presentation? And I tell them, and this is something that we all need to remember, because we wonder how we're going to draw people away from cheap Costco or whatever. I tell them I'm wearing this stethoscope so I can be a doctor. So if any of you here need a medical diagnosis, I can do that. And when they laughed, I say, why are you laughing? People will go home, they get on their computer, they get on the internet, and they believe they were qualified to plan travel. You know what? They're not, any more than I'm qualified. Well, actually, I do think I'm qualified, but that's neither here nor there. But when I was on the aircraft, there was a couple ahead of me, and we were in business, and they were really excited with their first river cruise. So they went up big. They were doing, a pre and a post, and they were doing business, and they were all excited, and they were on the Rhine. So of course I said, "Oh, what is it about the Rhine that attracted you?" And she said, "Well, nothing. We just picked it." I am sure they'll have a great time, but maybe they would have had a better time if they had been more compatible with an itinerary that had what they wanted. And so talk about things I want you to remember. Just make sure you know enough about every river cruise line and the destinations so your client doesn't walk away saying, my travel advisor picked it. And as I said, Costco is not your competitor. I will match Costco's price when they match my customer service. And they're not gonna do it. Thank you. Thank you.
That's a great line.
Christen or Melinda,
It's true,
either one of
though,
you
right?
want to you have time for me if you want to jump in maybe?
I mean, qualify, and getting on the phone or Zoom call and asking all of the questions. Again, you are specializing in your client. You need to know everything that you possibly can about them. You're forming a lifelong relationship. It's not about just this one river cruise. It's about all the other ones after that. Mm-hmm. So they need to know that. And when it's not over email, when it's on the phone or Zoom, they hear the sincerity in your voice and they know that you are their advocate. So that is my biggest takeaway.
That's a biggie.
Christen?
Agreed. I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, great.
Good.
Okay, and sort of piggybacking off of this, topic of what you want advisors to, walk away with. Again, just actionable steps. Anything that they can do, right when they leave from here, when they go to their ships this afternoon. What are some actionable steps that for advisors to take away?
Do
as well?
presentations.
Sorry?
Do presentations. That's always a biggie. Nonprofit groups are always looking for speakers. Rotary, Optimist, Lion Club, any kind of a community group, they have speakers. Call them up, tell them what you do. The important thing is you don't plug yourself. I'll call it like Travel 101 or River Cruising 101. And as somebody, I have cards sitting out, but I don't hand them out. I wait for somebody to ask me for it. So, and develop a relationship with your BDM. They are so important. They will come to your to your presentations. I teamed up with a culinary school. Do you remember Culinaria in Vienna, Virginia? Mm-hmm. Culinaria, the owners of the culinary school, didn't charge me. They did all the wine, all the hors d'oeuvres, because they were showing themselves off. So this was advertising for their culinary school. And my BDM came and did a wonderful presentation. There were 12 people there, not many, but I only got one couple booking. But you know what? It was on Uniworld. It was a pricey sailing. It was more than worth it, considering I didn't pay for anything. And so these are the places, libraries. As long as you don't push yourself, libraries like speakers as well. Mm-hmm. So those would be the actionable steps. I recommend get out there, and even if someone doesn't book that day, if you did a good job showing your sincerity and your knowledge, they're going to keep your card. And maybe a year from now, they'll call you back, right? And they'll call you back with 2 other couples.
Great. Let's hear from everybody else before we run out of time.
I say create a marketing plan while you're here. Like, just go back wherever you're going back to this afternoon, go back and write down 10 people that are in your database right now that would be perfect for one of the ships that you're going to see. Make really great notes, make a chart, compare every single cruise line that we're looking at this week, and then choose 10 clients and then write them an email and say, I thought about you when I saw this, and you would be great for this experience. That's mine.
And I'll say, you're here, you're experiencing it now. Take all the pictures, capture it, blog it, write about it, videotape it, and then create the story, and then send it out to the list that Christen just talked about.
And use the connections that you're making over the weekend in order to do all of this. I mean, you have executives, you have, people from Travel Weekly, your agent sitting next to you, the crew, the captains, everyone. So many connections. Take that and tie those all into your story to get to your clients.
And open a group and sell the heck out of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have. Thank you all so much. This was
Thank you.
a great talk.
Nicole.
Thank
Really
you, folks.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.